Do you think a guy who takes risks is attractive?
Yes, yes.
So the thing about risk, and it's always trying to be calm and going with flow. Risk is inherent to life.
The men are physically brave and mentally coward sometimes, and the women are much more brave.
I think that the risks that existed years ago are different than the risks that we are taking right now.
I would say risk and excitement kind of go hand in hand.
So I have a motto that I adopted for myself and I pass it on to him. We say, what's the worst thing that could happen?
It's beautiful,
It's
right?
a beautiful place. Come on here, everybody. Come here, Portugal, Lisbon.
It's so cool.
In life, you gotta take some risks if you want to enjoy life, you know? Without risk, you don't have nothing.
Today we're in Cascais in Portugal, and the topic is risk. When it comes to the most meaningful moments in life, they can often be the riskiest moments. Think about starting a business or meeting a life partner or maybe traveling around the world. So let's go around and ask some people how they perceive risk and how they make decisions when it comes to taking risks. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put yourself in terms of taking risks?
Maybe like a 7, a 7.5.
Probably 7, 8.
10.
Oh, I'm gonna say 5.
Okay.
I don't know. I like it, but I'm not into it. You know.
Well, personally, I don't like taking risks.
Okay.
So I always try to prepare as much as I can. But well, if you own a boat and if you like the sea, you know, and the sea has so many uncertain things, so it's inherent to be at sea, to be able to deal with risk.
I used to take a lot of risk, and now I'm a bit older, I take less, of course.
Okay.
But when I was young, I was pretty close to 10.
Okay. When it comes to men and women, do you think we're different in how we tolerate risk?
The men are physically brave and mentally coward sometimes, and the women are much more brave.
Women take more risk than men.
I find it quite interesting the way between having a boy and a girl, the differences in risk. You can tell a boy, don't touch that, that's hot, and he'll say how hot and burn his hands, where the girl is a lot more, that she would be less risk sort of adverse, I would say, less likely to take risks.
Yeah, I think I definitely avoided risk a lot more. I agree, I like the adventure part of it, but just day to day, I'm the one that always says, get off there, that's too high, be careful, you can't do that.
I think that normally a boy in a young age, they just go for it. A girl is more like keep it to herself. So I think that boys usually take more risks. I think it's like more of a biological stuff.
Women's, yeah.
Oh, really? Women?
For women's is more risks.
Yeah. And what's maybe a risk that a guy doesn't realize that maybe you have, so he can sort of see the world through your perspective more?
If I want to go like study abroad, it's kind of risky to go alone. For a guy, that's okay. I can go out at night alone. That's super risky.
Yeah. Do you think women are different when it comes to men in terms of taking risks?
Yes, of course, because we are women. I don't know. Being around at night is really different because you're a man. You can walk and no one is going to say nothing. But if you're a woman, everyone is looking into you. Everyone is, I don't know, smiling around, and that's really different, I think so.
Yeah. So what is the riskiest situation you've been on a boat, and maybe what lessons can you learn from that you can pass on to others?
Okay, first of all, when you are on a boat, you have to be very respectful about the sea, you know, because the sea is unpredictable. We have several situations that we don't control, and we have to respect the sea first of all. the situation that I can remember that I've been through, it's been from a huge swell that we caught from the side of the boat that we weren't expecting that. And the sea was with no wind, the sky was clear, so it was a nice day, but there was some swell. And on that day, when we were returning to the port, we caught a huge wave that appears from we don't know where, and the boat almost capsized. And the lesson that you have to take from that is to be always aware, being all the time on alert. Because the sea sometimes make us some surprises.
We live here actually, but I moved countries twice already. So I feel that was quite a big risk to leave your homeland, your family, your friends, everything behind, and just really gamble on having a life in a new place.
And what's the riskiest thing you've done?
I did mountain climbing, which is really dangerous. I've been a paratrooper, who could be dangerous too, and a lot of sailing actually.
Maybe last year, one boat party, the sea very, I don't know,
Rough.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you prefer guys who take risks or safe guys?
Safe guys.
Really?
Yeah, of course,
Why?
yeah. Because I like it. Safe. I like comfortable.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you think a guy who takes risks is attractive?
Yes, yes. It shows that they're not afraid to do things.
Like looking back on your life, do you wish you'd taken more risks or less risks, or you're quite happy?
I grew up in Israel in a very in a religious home, so everything was pretty much dictated, lots of restrictions. So there was very little room for freedom, I would say, and kind of, taking risks, really, and following your heart.
Definitely.
So yeah, there are many things that I wish I would have done differently, I guess, or maybe feeling more bold.
Is there something you've done in your life, or maybe something you didn't do that you regret not taking a risk in?
Actually, I don't know. I took too much risk, so I have my share of risk, and I think now that I stopped actually taking stupid risks when I got children, because then you realize that you must be responsible and you're accountable for what you do. So I stopped climbing, I stopped paratrooping, I stopped everything because it's being selfish.
Does your mum allow you to take risks in life?
Sometimes.
Would you like to take more? Like do you see these kids over here jumping off the pier? Would you like to be able to do that?
Maybe no.
But over there, you did want to, no? On that inflatable?
Yeah.
And do you think when it comes to having kids, did your attitude to risk change maybe? Some people say when they have kids, they stop doing like dangerous things, or has your attitude to risk changed over the years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've never done things like, bungee jumping. To me, that would be just an example of something very risky. But definitely since becoming a parent, I would think twice if it was something that I would say, this would impact his life. So for sure, I take it into consideration.
I would say risk and excitement kind of go hand in hand. So when you're looking for adventure and adrenaline, then there are risky things. We both like skiing, but the thought of now taking kids skiing, that excitement with the risk has changed.
And are there any lessons that maybe you learned from the risks that you took as a paratrooper, as a climber, or as a sailor that maybe you could try and tell us about, that we could learn from that?
Risk taking is managing the fear, because fear is good and panic is very bad. So you need to level your trigger between the actual fear that we need, because if not, you're just stupid, and the panic, which is the real panic, and it's really bad. So, but when you get old, to know yourself and to manage it.
And what advice do you have maybe to your younger self or to younger people when it comes to taking risks?
Listen the father. Listen the father. Yeah.
Do you think you can apply those same lessons to, say, business or in other areas of life as well?
Well, I think so. It's just preparation, because at sea, there's so many things involved. It's not only turning and driving, because there's the current, there is the wind as well, and everything just moves into different directions. So if you prepare, and if you try to be calm upon a new situation, not to act immediately, just have those first seconds of trying to understand what's going on. So I think that's the best lesson I've learned from the sea. Is to prepare and not react immediately.
The world changed a lot in the last years. My grandparents or parents had different responsibilities that I have. College wasn't that normal like 30, 40 years ago. Nowadays, at least here in Portugal, all of the people of my age go to college. It's very normal, and I think that's, in the older days, going to college was a risk, and right now it's a completely normal thing. So I think that the risks that existed years ago are different than the risks that we are taking right now.
Younger, I used to take a lot of risks, because children, they don't have measurement. They don't know what is going to happen, so they are almost like a white canvas,
What would you teach children when it comes to risk? Of course, you don't want them to get hurt, but at the same time, they need to know how to balance that.
Yeah, you want to protect your children, of course. You need to balance between the teaching of life, taking risk, and that they get the lesson without the pain. So it's not so easy. So I would advise the boys or the girls, of course, take risk, but don't get hurt. And it's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. And does school teach you about risk? Do you have any lessons on risk, and do you wish it would?
No.
Okay.
Do you wish they would?
Yes.
Like teach you about it?
Yes.
And how do you, as parents, how do you wish that school would talk about risk? Do you wish they would do it, or do you think it's the place of the parent to teach it?
I think it's a very shared obligation, really, because they're at school so much. They should receive some degree of it, whether it's like on social media, risks on the media, risks on like physical risks, so they don't hurt themselves. But kids can put themselves in dangerous situations in so many ways that I think the school should be doing it at least for part.
How would you suggest teaching kids about risk then?
You can't. The history tells us that we have to pass by situations. That's how we learn, I think.
So you can't be taught it, but you have to learn it yourself. You have to go through it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to give you the example how we take the licenses to become skipper, that the license is too much theory, I think that it should be passed by more practice on the sea, because that's where the situations happen. That's real life, know.
How should we be teaching kids to prepare for risk?
I think it's just hands-on stuff, like learning to cook. I think that's something that that should be taught at school. Learning to cook, chop some salads. There's risk in that. So if you start doing that, and you become aware of the risks, if you don't put your hand too close to the lettuce and stuff like that. So that's the best way. It's always hands-on stuff.
Because I grew up with lots of fear, exactly that's the thing I'm trying to not pass over and actually teach the opposite. So I have a motto that I adopted for myself and I pass it on to him. We say, what's the worst thing that could happen? So whenever we want to think about something we want to take for the first time, or it's risky, we say, okay, let's think, what's the worst thing that could happen? And it could be just something that's like walking up to a stranger and talking. Or jumping off a cliff, whatever, to the water.
Well, I can talk to a stranger.
Yes.
I'm not scared like many people are.
And your mum taught you that? Because most parents, they say, don't talk to strangers, but it's really...
Well, they won't hurt us really or do anything. Why are you scared?
You're not scared?
Yeah. So...
But do you think before you speak to someone?
Yeah.
If it's safe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to balance, I think. with. I think the main thing to teach that I try to teach as a parent is to use is to learn decision making, right? To think what could be the outcome, to like weigh your options, assess the risks, essentially. So yeah.
So today we've heard some crazy stories, some near-death experiences, and others who have traveled the world at a young age by taking a risk. Now I want to hear from you. What advice or suggestions would you have for someone who is looking to take more risks in life and maybe to have more meaningful moments? Leave your comments below.